Go. Good evening. I'm Scott Robbins, W4PA. I'm the Amateur Radio Product Manager for ten-tec Incorporated. And we are here again with another edition of ten-tec TV. Tonight we take a retrospective look at the ten-tec omni-VI Plus transceiver. We actually had two versions of the omni-VI. The original one was out from 1992 to 1997. The second version, the omni-VI Plus, was out from 1997 to 2002. And we had an upgrade program that ran from 1997 to 1999, where you could send in an existing omni-VI and get it upgraded to omni-VI Plus, and we'll go over all of that tonight. Let's see, we'll do a shot of the front panel of the radio here. One of the things that's interesting about the omni-VI is that it is top-of-the-line receiver performance in a very easy-to-use package. One of the things that we were emphasizing about this rig back in the day when it was current and then through the 1990s was that what you see is essentially what you get. There aren't layers of menus on this rig. All the crucial controls on the rig are all controllable from what you see here on the front panel, knobs, buttons, etc. What I'm going to do here is just go over some of the features that we have on this rig. We were not calling them roofing filters back in the day, but the omni-VI and omni-VI Plus does use a 2.4 kilohertz roofing filter at the first IF. There's also a bank of selectable bandwidth filters here as well. Let me turn this down for a sec. You can see these five buttons right here, 1.8, 500, 250, N1 and N2. These are optional filters. These filters, 1.8, 500, and 250, are in the 6.3 megahertz IF. The N1 and N2 filters are the 9 megahertz IF. You can push a button to select an available filter, push a button to turn it back off. You can cascade the filters as well. The reason we have the narrow positions and then these filters over here is because you can cascade filters in two different IFs together. So for example, if you had a 9 megahertz 500 hertz bandwidth filter in N1 and you had the opposite filter 500 hertz in the second IF here, you could actually cascade them together. The reason that you would want to do that is you get better selectivity using a pair of filters than you would just using a single filter in a single IF. Okay, we'll go over some of the features on the radio here. The omni-VI is a single receiver. It is handbands only. It is not dual receive, nor is it general coverage. It was certainly the heritage of this radio is what eventually evolved into the Orion and the Orion 2 for handbands only. We did that because essentially we're using a low noise synthesizer mixed with crystal local oscillators for each of the ham bands. What we were after at the time of doing this essentially was to keep phase noise generated by noisy synthesizers to a minimum and keep phase noise from having an overall negative impact on receiver performance. You can see here main frequency display. We're on 40 meters here at the moment. There is a single antenna connector on the back. The second antenna connector is used for receive only. All you have to do is press this button and it puts the receive antenna in for transceive operation where you're transceiving with the transmit antenna. AGC on off, selectable fast and slow AGC. There is a manual notch filter. Let's see if we can get an example of using this here. CW signal. Okay, here's the CW signal. We'll kick on the notch. Oh, that's auto notch, I'm sorry. Let's see, manual notch. We will try to find a sweet spot here. Okay, you can see right there we've got about 40 dB of notch depth to notch out that signal. Automatic notch is used for primarily notching out carriers in single sideband modes, but it will work in CW if you don't want to listen to CW. You just hit a button like that. We'll demonstrate that on sideband later. Fast and slow selectable QSK on transmit. Noise blanker and squelch. The controls are here. Passband tuning, of course. Essentially, we had a demonstration, if you were tuned into ten-tec TV last week, where we did a demonstration on the Orion, how passband tuning works. It works certainly the same on omni-VIs as well. RIT, XIT selectable. RIT, XIT. Selectable with this knob here. Mic gain control, power control. The omni-VI Plus is 100 watts out, selectable by this knob down to about a minimum of 5 watts out. Separate AF and RF controls on these two potentiometers. Crank the RF gain back. Crank it back up like this. One of the things that the omni-VI is known for is this was the first HF transceiver released for amateur use that made use of DSP. The original omni-VI had a DSP low-pass filter, essentially for filtering out broadband hiss and noise. When we went to the omni-VI Plus, we expanded that to add low-pass filtering and noise reduction. For example, we will tune off to a spot here, hit the low-pass filter. You can hear some of that broadband hiss disappear. Noise reduction, we'll take that out even more. See if we can find a weak CW signal here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, UT6EK. All right, well, a little bit of DX rolling in. Noise reduction on. Noise reduction off. Okay, this is low pass filtering off. Low pass filtering on. Noise reduction on. Frequency entry on this rig is done by means of a keypad you see here. You just press the band button to change bands. 20 meters, 40 meters, 160, etc. You can also set this up to do frequency entry priority, which is, you can see that there's an entry keypad here labeled 120. You can actually set this up to do direct frequency entry, or you can just hit the enter button and type in a frequency, 14.23800, for example. The omni-VI also has, of course, computer control available. One of the things we were doing back at that time was emulating the ICOM CIV interface for computer control. So essentially, anything that will run an ICOM 765, ICOM 781, 735, you can run the omni-VI with as well. Computer control wise for software, etc. I think most major software packages are certainly usable with the Omni as well. Like our other rigs, we have a 100% duty cycle final. We don't use SWR foldback on this rig. One of the things we've done a little bit differently than the Japanese all these years is we use a current limiting circuit on the final amplifier to keep final amplifier burnout from happening in the face of a high SWR. Essentially, the final amplifier is limited to 23 amps at 13.8 volts DC instead of using power foldback. One of the things we said about this at the time, too, is that this rig was really as much computer as transceiver. I think that that's very common today, but really we're using microprocessors in this rig, though certainly in a more rudimentary form than something that's now available some 15 years later. QSK for CW and Amtor use, of course. Dual VFOs, has a clock, you can see up here. Iambic keyer built in. 10 to 60 words per minute for range on that. 100 memories. There's a memory tune and memory scroll feature available to here. Memory tune, memory scroll to allow you to run through the different memories you have set up. You can exit back out of that to go back into VFO mode as well. The receiver itself has a dynamic range of about 97 dB at 2.4 kilohertz bandwidth. We rate that at about 100 dB with CW filters in use. IF rejection and image rejection are greater than 90 dB apiece. You can go onto the web, for example, and look at some of the things like the Rob Sherwood receiver performance tables, which rate things like the Orion, ICOM, Elecraft, and see that this rig ranks up there certainly probably in the top 10 of any transceiver ever released for amateur use. These rigs are now available pretty affordably as used gear. We take them in as trade-ins. At present, we probably have about 10 of the omni-VI Plus and the omni-VIs that have been factory upgraded to omni-VI Plus in stock and available as used gear. The only difference between them is that the earlier omni-VIs would have been ones that were upgraded by us in 1997 to 99 to give them the full omni-VI Plus treatment. Electrically and functionally, they're the same radio. If you have any questions about the omni-VI, the omni-VI Plus, or any other product that ten-tec manufactures, feel free to give me a call at 800-833-7373 or email sales@ten-tec.com. Thanks very much for tuning in to ten-tec TV this evening. 73 from all of us at ten-tec.